During the peak of the rut, hunting can be boom or bust. If you aren't where a receptive doe is, deer sightings can be pretty slim. Across much of the whitetails range, the peak of the rut is about November 13th. That's when the highest percentage of does have been receptive or are receptive, and that can make deer movement seem very limited because bucks don't have to move very far to find a receptive doe. And if they are tending a receptive doe, they're going to stay really close to her till she's ready to be bred. Here the past few days, we've seen some really cool examples of this. One of them was when I was traveling to hunt in Illinois. Even though we were driving to go hunt, this was a big old buck. We had to pull over and take a look at him. And it was pretty cool to see him standing out in this big open field in the middle of the day with this doe. This doe was likely very close to being receptive, ready to stand for this buck to breed her. If she tried to get away, he'd run around and cut her off. Why was he out in this big open field? Well, in this type of habitat, that's a great place for a buck to hold a doe. He can overlook a lot of acres, making sure another buck doesn't swing in to try to come between him and that doe. We watched this buck and doe for over 10 minutes, then we decided it was time to go hunt. But a great example of when a doe's receptive, that buck and doe, they're not moving very far. A few days later, during the opening afternoon of Missouri's firearm season, one of our friends sent us a video, and sure enough, it was showing the same thing. Here in southern Missouri, a doe was in cover, and there was a buck standing right with her. And throughout that hunt, those deer did not move very far. It was a great illustration of that lockdown phase when a buck is hanging right with a doe. If that wasn't enough, just yesterday, our mole trees showed quite a story. Around 10 a.m., a doe walks by, and in the background's a buck we call TH. Around 1 p.m., TH walked by again, and he wasn't moving very fast. He wasn't in a hurry thinking, man, I got to get somewhere trying to find a receptive doe. That doe was likely very close. Then, around 4 p.m., about 150 yards to the north, TH and that doe walked in front of another mole tree. They're hanging really tight, grabbing a few bites of that green cover. You'll notice in that video, there's felled cedars all around that hidey hole. This ridge, where they've been spending most of the day, is an area where we'd felled eastern red cedars beginning our habitat improvement work. And this ridge has a lot of thick quality cover for does that are trying to get away from multiple pesky bucks. That's an area where that doe's gonna go seek cover, and old TH was hanging there tight with her. At 5 p.m., they had drifted back just another 150 yards to the south. What a story. Throughout the day, TH and that doe hadn't moved very far. These are just a few illustrations of what's going on in the deer woods during the rut. So what can hunters learn? Well, it's either boom or bust. Those bucks probably aren't moving very far, and you need to be hunting close to an area where there's a receptive doe. That's the pinch point and bottleneck. You need to find where that receptive doe is going to be. If you can find a pinch point next to high quality cover where that doe may be sneaking into cover, trying to get away from a pesky buck or going in with a buck that's tending her, that's where hunters need to set up during this portion of the rut. This is the strategy Rylan White used here in southern Missouri during the opening morning of Missouri's firearm season. Rylan's already had a great start to his hunting season. During mid-October, he tagged a dandy buck with his bow. This was actually Rylan's first archery buck. As firearm season approached, Rylan set up on the final rest, making sure his deer rifle was ready for opening day. Sure enough, that shot was true, and Rylan was ready to look for his second buck of the 2025 season. Last year, Rylan tagged a big old mountain buck in a green cover, hidey hole food plot he calls Cedar Ridge. The Cedar Ridge hidey hole is located on a small ridge in the middle of big timber. Rylan's learned over the years that bucks love to troll this ridge during the rut. And to make it even better, down in the steep hollers, there's thick, nasty cover. Does are gonna dive off in that thick, nasty cover in the hollers, and bucks like to slide around the edges and work up and down that ridge. It's the perfect pinch point for finding a buck cruising, looking for a receptive doe, like Ghost was, or an area where a doe might slide through and bring a buck in tow. Putting all this together, opening morning, Rylan was in a tree about 75 yards off the edge of the Cedar Ridge plot. This was a nice little funnel for deer to work through.
November 15th here in southern Missouri, opening day of gun season. It is hot, but the deer are still on their feet, they're moving. So on the Moultrie, we had a buck roll through a plot, chasing a doe about 75 yards to our left. So we're just hoping to have him cruise through here again and get lucky and put the Winchester to work. Well, they're already shooting, but hopefully we can get a chance at one.
Deer weren't the only critters traveling through this funnel. Rylan heard leaves crunching, quickly grabbed his Winchester before the camera even came on. It was 3 coyotes. Rylan's quick on the trigger. He put one on the ground. The second one turned, came back, and by the time the camera came on, Rylan had already settled the hairs of the burris on that second coyote.
I shot that one behind the shoulder. So we've had 3 coyotes absolutely terrorizing the southern side of our farm. And we just had all 3 of them roll in. I popped 2 of them with a 6.8. Another one went up the hill. I didn't quite get a shot off on him, but it may have scared some deer, but we also probably saved a couple deer, so we knocked them down.
After the smoke settled, things got quiet in the woods for a while. But then about 10 a.m., Rylan spotted a doe coming through that funnel, and once you know it, a big buck was right behind her.
Oh, that's a big buck. That's a good buck. You want him? I'm not, no. You want him? Yeah.
The Winchester bullet sure thumped that buck, and he wasn't going far.
I just had a hot doe roll through and absolutely smoked a stud. 6.8 Western did a job on him. I'm excited, so we're gonna crawl down, go take a look at him, and crawl back up so my dad can maybe get a chance at another buck cruising on that hot doe.
Talk about a rut hunt. 2 coyotes on the ground, a big buck. Rylan and Chase were excited to climb down because they had a lot of work to do.
Let's go take a look at him. It is the bully buck. Bully buck's not bad. Got him. He's got some mass, dude. Got some serious mass. Look at that deer. That's awesome. Bully buck's bigger than you thought, huh? Yeah, he's got a lot of mass. What a stud. Dude, he's got like some 6-inch bases. Look at those bases. That's some serious mass. Hey guys, super excited. Got it done this morning. As you can see, it was a pretty eventful morning. We saw 4 coyotes. But the real reason we came in here is we had Moultrie of this deer about 100 yards down at a different plot. He was chasing a doe. Came through chasing a doe this morning. Got it done. I actually messed this deer up last year. I forgot my bow and my dad passed him and I got to film him at 15 yards for like 20 minutes. So quite the backstory here. We call him the bully buck. He didn't grow a whole lot in frame size, but he put on a lot of mass this year. He's a nice mature deer. We actually have him running off one of our other bigger mature deer this year in Velvet. So he's quite the bully, but happy to get him on the ground. He's got great mass. Super excited with this deer.
Rylan's hunt is a true timber rut hunt. It happens quick. You got a little window to squeeze that bullet through, and Rylan did it. He was tagged out in Missouri. Rylan's hunt is a great illustration of understanding the phase of the rut, the habitat and terrain, how deer travel through an area during a specific time of year, and that all resulted in a nice set of antlers and more venison for the freezer. As we move further and further away from the peak of the rut, hunting strategies need to change. We'll be sharing a video soon about how to hunt that late rut phase. So make sure you subscribe to the Growing Deer channel so you're notified when that video is released. Big bucks spend a lot of time and energy seeking a receptive doe. And when they find one, they know they've got something special and they don't move very far. I hope you are kind of like a big buck, that you use time and energy to seek the Creator. And as you learn more and more about Him, you're going to spend a lot of time together and you will not want to drift far away from Him. No matter what you're doing this week, slow down, seek the Creator and the purpose He has for your life. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.